But that's what I
Well,
want to.
if the circumstances were different, we might bump it up some, but
You see, that's what I was gonna say. That 2.8 million that Wichita Falls getting, that's something we buy all the time, trying to get things in. What the circumstances were under 25 right now, is about all we can afford.
Well, you know, getting down, just everything goes to the highest bidder. That's just, you know, and it wasn't like that. It used to be not like that.
Yeah.
But it is now.
Well, honestly, if you gotta give $3 million to get them in here.
Well, the other thing, we're still in the process of paying, that note off.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm thinking once we get that paid off, then we might can contribute a little more if we have,
Well,
prospects and things like that, but.
speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up, but, you know, once we get that, we hadn't addressed it thus far in this meetings. But, you know, we know we're gonna have to do something out here at the jail eventually. And I think we need to put some kind of plan in place. And I don't know what y'all's ideas are, but we need to start putting some money aside. Any ideas on how it would be best to go about doing that?
Good. But when you get a rise up a bond,
Yeah, that's gonna be an answer. I mean, the bond's gonna have to be it, 'cause you're talking about a lot of money. There's no way we could put that kind of money back.
They were talking about $30 million, but
No.
It could be, you know, it depends on.
I think last time we checked, you know, it's gonna be somewhere between $35 to $40 million.
It keeps going up, maybe we better go and do it.
Well, you know, back
Well, you know,
back in the day, you know, we could have built one for about 15.
Yeah.
But back in the day, 15 was a lot.
Yeah.
It's,
And the interest was a lot higher back then.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember, the interest was, you know, God, it was high
I
compared
mean, I
to
was
now.
kind of joking, but
Well-
honestly, there's no, I mean, we could start a fund, but the only way we're ever gonna pull that off is to.
Well, anything beats nothing, you know, and we'll
Yeah.
probably have to wait till we get some numbers together, see what this looks like, but I think I'm saying that if we have any money additional, we've gotta look at putting some up and, you know, to start some sort of designated fund, a building fund for the future of that jail out there. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
You're right, we're gonna have to do something.
well, if we just start a fund, you know, it's not gonna build a jail, we know that, but at least we'll be taking a step in that direction.
And you know, we all understand when we say that too, that's gonna affect our reserves, because we could pull that money out of this, like this coming, when we'll get our final expenditures for this year, it's, you know, we all know we're not spending the money that we budgeted for. So, you know, that money that we thought was gonna go into the reserve will now go into a special fund if we start one. So we need to understand that if we put in whatever we do per year, that's gonna be away from our reserves, or, we're gonna have to watch our taxes, because we take whatever we put in there, in the budget, then that's really gonna cut down what you have to spend on the actual business of the county. So,
Yeah.
you know, it can be done, but I don't know how much money we're able to put aside for that.
Well, and we just have, like I say, we look at the numbers and we gotta get toward the final parts of our budget process and just see we'll know more.
How long this interest is gonna stay the way it is, and how cheap the money is,
Yeah.
you know, that's gonna be a big factor as far as, you know, like, when we got this money for the bond, it was a lot of money, but the money didn't cost that much, it was the interest.
Well, and
We did the right thing there.
from the indications I see now, most likely it's gonna stay pretty cheap for a while, but
Yeah.
it won't forever.
Yeah. And you know, and you're gonna have people that say it wasn't a good decision, something, but we could have never done what we did out there with anything. I mean, I guess we could have got it out of our reserves, but, I mean, what about something really bad would happen between now and then? Now we got COVID, who knows about the tax rate, what's gonna happen there, the collections, are we gonna get all the collections that we think we're gonna get?
You got 'em
Revenues
this year.
aren't, the revenues aren't.
You got them this year, you're at 100%.
Yeah,
So
and the
you
revenues,
got 'em last
you know
year,
we're not gonna
you-
get the revenues 100% this year.
No.
We're seeing
You
that
don't
right
have
now.
the expenditures at 100%.
Yeah, we don't, but that's the whole deal, we're not gonna have the expenditures
Yeah.
either.
But when you start talking about $30-40 million, you look at it different. I mean, this is a whole different deal.
Well, and I don't think we're talking about spending $30 or $40 million right now.
On the jail?
Yeah, but, you know, I think we need to start putting some kind of plans in place.
Sure. We talked about that last
What
year.
did you say, by the time you start planning, was
Well,
it?
What they tell you is by the time you decide you want to build a jail, until you actually open the door, is about 5 years.
yeah, and that's, and, you know, we have kinda talked about it in the past, but it always gets put back, and I don't think we need to put it back anymore, I think we need to look at it in earnest.
What we talking about since I got here? Right, Sheriff?
That's
I
right.
mean, Judge, excuse me.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I got off track.
Oh, no, you good, we need to talk about that. So, JP3 sign, that's the, you know, I guess her dilemma is that if she buys the marquee sign, then she thinks she can pay for it out of the technology fund. But if she buys just a painted sign or a basic sign, I guess I don't know what the wording would be, but without the technology part, then she doesn't feel like she can use her technology fund, which I think is right, you know. So basically, I guess her dilemma is if she buys a technology sign, she's gonna pay for it out of her technology fund. And if she buys a non-technology sign, then we need to budget her the money to buy the sign.
Does
I
she
think
have a
that's
cost?
That's something very good. The more research she does on this sign, the less she likes it. So, I don't think she's really leaning towards a marquee sign. I mean, she even said that when she did her presentation, that she thinks she'd rather go to a painted sign. I think we could just help her make a decision and say no. I think she does need that other kind of sign, and I think this is kind of what she wants to do anyway, is go with just the regular sign.
Does anyone have any idea what a regular sign ballpark would be?
Thought she said she was working on getting a bigger, is that not what she
Yeah,
said?
that's what she said.
I
Let
thought
me,
that's what she was trying to do, was get a quote
I just
on
got
what it could be.
through talking to her before we come down here. And not about the sign, but if y'all will, when we get done today, I'll call her
Do
and
that,
ask her about
try
the
to get
sign
figures.
and see if she has any ballpark numbers.
You know, signs are like a lot of other things, it can be a
How much did the
little, or
sign
it
cost to
can,
do?
you know, depends on what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, she wants a nice looking sign out there, so.
Well, of course, what she's wanting,
Okay.
and with the interstate traffic and stuff, it's gonna have to be a pretty
All right.
good
All right.
size.
Yeah, I have to be pretty tall.
You're not
because
gonna be
you
able
can't
to
see it.
just put a
Right.
basic sign at 75, 80 mile an hour, people will be able to read it and stuff. You said Sherry, is that who you were calling to
Yeah.
say?
I asked her, the two signs we have, well, they're not near whatever, but the one on the front, one on the side, when you put them together, that's $1,200, and they're not near what
Okay.
you don't have.
No, you don't have to have poles or stands or
Yeah.
anything.
Ours is just passing with a brick wall, that's $1,200 for.
Well, let me call her after
Okay.
this, and we'll talk about that in the morning. And,
Okay.
Now, on the personnel deal, let's just leave that until we talk about everybody's
Okay.
personnel. The same with the sheriff's deal on the request for the deputy.
Okay.
The indigent health person, Ida did run a total on that. And one of the things I talked about to Ida yesterday was with Deborah gonna be here for the 20 months, that even if we funded this position, we may fund it for beginning June of next year. And that would still give her eight to 10 months to train someone.
Yeah.
And then that would cut our expense for that additional person in half for a year. And so, like I say, but I'm good with whatever y'all decide to do, because I do think it would benefit us in the long run that she would have that person and be able to train them.
Hey, Ida, what's her salary? David's salary?
Deborah,
That was 30,
right here.
34
Where do you see that?
on her, budget.
You remember it?
Yeah, about 30.
It is, you want an annual, Mario?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You know, Judge, also that if we did it the way you was talking about, under something for like June on, that give us plenty of time to look for a good candidate.
35.9?
Yeah.
Yeah. 36.
And that's what Ida and I talked a little bit about it yesterday, and that's what we talked about. If we could hire someone so that they could be at the end of the year and run that end of the year process that she has to go through. And then she would also be there in January when they started the year. And, you know, and lots of that, that's the critical phase, is how to start it up and how to finish it, so.
So if you look at what I gave you a whole year's salary, so you would, if you're just talking about next year, half a year, then you would just consider the top half of that.
That 9,292.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Half of that?
Half of it.
Well, now that's step one.
Yeah. And then it goes to a step 2, that's the difference in those.
That would start in January then. Step 2 would start in January of the next
Yes.
year.
Yes, sir. If you give her the whole year, this is the amount.
Okay.
If you start her in June, then you're just gonna be looking at the first top part.
Okay, the 9,262.
Yeah.
All right, then, we'll come back to that when we do everybody's personnel.
Okay.
Ollie Liner Center, pickup, any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, my thoughts are that I don't see how we can justify buying a new pickup for it because they don't really use that pickup, you know, put that kind of mileage on it. I believe we can do what we've done in the past and come up with a pretty good used pickup from the sheriff's office or one of us that would work good for that. It'd be nice to have a new pickup, but honestly, I don't see how we can justify it.
No.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Well, I know that position.
You feel that way?
That position's never had a new pickup, now they've got different pickups.
Yes.
And what we've tried to do, I know when I sold it to one to Lynn, we didn't wait until we got the 150,000 miles on it. We sold him one
Yes.
a little after 100,000 miles. And usually, sold him one that we knew hadn't given us any problems or whatever. So,
Well, it does, I think he said it had like 161,000 miles, if I remember right, which is getting on up there, but it's not one that's on the road,
Yeah.
every day, it's very far.
Well, he said something, he thought he had some.
The animal rise center, the parts store, and
So, well, I think we can come up with him a good pickup.
Okay.
So
If
it's
we're
a
gonna
no-
do that,
it's
do
a
we
no
need to
on
budget
this?
a little money in his budget? Because we'd have to pay whoever we buy the pickup. from.
Yes,
So you wanna get him one next year? Is that what you're saying, Peter?
yes, that's what I'm thinking.
you could talk to Cotton and see if he's got one that's gonna work.
They're on the auction right now.
Oh,
They're on the auction right now. The ones he's got.
okay.
Well, what we might could do is talk to him about one for next year
Yeah,
before we got to
kind of
that.
put us one aside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to that high mileage deal.
I
And
think so, and, and I think Benny did say something to the effect that the motor was making some noises and things, in which, in the worst case scenario, if it happens to go out, we'll put one in it, they're not real expensive, those, and,
Well, I'm thinking if we put maybe half that amount,
I think so.
about
It should buy,
15,000,
Yeah.
that we could buy one.
Let me see what you pay.
I would think that would work.
So 15,000,
Well,
She's gonna look and see what,
Do you ever get a 15,000 on a trade deal?
we don't trade them though till they get 150. We So if we trade one at 100, I don't know
So it'll
what
bring
they
more
give us.
money,
Yeah.
you know, because it'll have less mileage, but.
I
that
think the
would be-
average we got on the pickups last year was like 8,500.
I started to say, back when I was trading them, we would get 75, 8,000, you know. Now, that was dealing with, Avery, yeah.
Well, I would think really 14 should be enough to get him a good pickup, you know. Mario, what do you think?
I think 15 should give him what we need.
15?
14, 15. We can get it cheaper, fine, but, you know.
I'd say up to 15,000, I don't know.
The one he's got, I'll pay 4,000 for him.
Four.
That's what you gave this.
14 ought to get, I mean,
Four.
somewhere in there ought to get him a pretty good truck.
Yeah. Okay, let's pencil in 15.
15.
Okay, the next item is precinct 4, John 70G motor grader.
Yeah, I'm just replacing one that's coming up on the buyback there, on the 5-year deal.
Okay.
Isn't that in your budget too?
Yeah, it's up here.
It's
It's in your
in-
budget,
So you've already put it in there?
Yes.
so we can start this. So it's done.
Yeah, it's got yes on the,
Okay. Then, the other thing, I did talk to Judge Davis about, and I told her my view on it, and y'all's may differ, and that if he does, that's fine, but on those push gardens, I think if the officer is assigned to Hale County and resides in Hale County, then I would consider a push guard. But just because they work out at her station, I wouldn't consider that to buy for those that live in.
That sounds very reasonable.
Or Lamb County. You know, because they utilize her station because it's the best way station in maybe the state, definitely in this region. And so, like I say, that's just my feeling. If they're assigned to Hale County like Jesse and Loopy work, then that's a whole different use of, I think, Hale County tax dollars to do that for those guys rather than doing it for those that live in those counties.
Well, we bought theirs a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, and they're still out here using them, you know, right here.
So,
I think that's good.
okay, all right. Then, you know, so really, we're not saying no, we wouldn't do it, but.
You kind of told Judge Davis
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, and I told her she was free to tell those guys that, you know, that I think they've been, I don't want to say,
Yeah.
they've been asking her a bunch about it, and so, and I just told her that, you know, she brought it to our attention and we would address it, so.
Okay.
Whatever y'all want to do, but that's just what I told her I thought would be the best thing to do. Okay, we didn't have lots this year as far as.
We didn't have
people
very many at all.
that people asked for additional.
I think everybody, you know, realizes where we're all sitting.
Yeah, and then like I said, I don't think anything we were asked was out of line, so. All right, Melinda, we've done that, so what else?
We got a couple of more, don't we, Judge?
Do we have any more?
Well, what about the DPS request?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
Really
that.
sad.
That was on here, and
I mean, it wasn't,
She didn't have that request when
Right.
she printed this out, so that's, Sergeant,
McCandless.
McCandless came and talked to us about reinstating even a part-time position out there. You know, it's just it's a difficult year to do new things, I mean, you know, because of all the uncertainty that we've had, so. But if y'all have, what y'all's feelings on it, anybody got?
I mean, he did ask for 20 hours, I mean, 16 hours, 2 days.
instead of having a full week, it's part-time.
I said, okay.
Judge, I kind of agree with you. I mean, we've said it with this item, we've said it with several others that have requested, we talked, I mentioned it, I mentioned it, you don't know what the revenue's gonna be, you don't know what the expenditures are, you don't know what's gonna happen, so, I mean, it's fair to say that, it's an unforeseen of exactly what's coming in, what's going out, so.
Well, it's a tough call, and plus, we cut it last year, and so the legislature really hadn't, DPS hadn't addressed it with the legislature, so, and they will this upcoming year, so I would think if we left it like it is for another year, and then if DPS and the legislature don't address it, and he wants to come back and request it, then we've at least given them an opportunity to see if they want to do it. So,
That's a good call.
and then on the constable's vehicle, I would say, if Brent thinks that, he's been driving that vehicle, so I would think if he thinks it's operable for another year, and then, like I said, that would give Tommy an opportunity to maybe apply through that SPAG deal for a vehicle.
We got, City of Pittsburgh got awarded one, 2 months ago, they delivered it yesterday.
Okay.
We
Yep.
got one 2 years ago, and then we got one delivered yesterday, so
What
that,
kind of vehicles was that?
they're Fords.
For
they're
what,
half
for what?
ton,
For-
for a police package,
Police?
Kind of like what the sheriff ordered.
sir.
Are they kind of like what the sheriff ordered?
Probably not as fancy, but it's 4-wheel drive, police package. Sport bridge,
And you got that on a grant?
Huh?
And you got that on a grant?
Yeah, like I say, SPAG gives so much money, they get so much money, and you can apply for these, grants, and they award so much to like school districts, and so much to cities, and so much to counties, so, like I say, your chances of getting something aren't bad, I mean, and so, I would think if he had next year to apply for that, and see what they say, and then we can look at that next year's budget. Anybody else have anything else? All right. Then, Melinda, do we have anything else we can look at? Then I would say, let's let Melinda go through and do what she can do. Just so y'all know, I have asked her to calculate 2.5% and 5% for employees. And she'll have those figures for us, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then we'll talk about the additional personnel, requests that we've been asked for. And any other things that we want to do. And then, like I said, after tomorrow's meeting, then we'll probably, I'll have Melinda post that we'll meet next week. And we really won't, unless there's something that comes up, we'll wait until we get our figures from the appraisal district. Then we'll meet